Morning, good afternoon, good evening, whichever works for you. I'm Tim, and thanks for tuning in. Since you're watching this, you already know cancer is crazy tough, chemo treatments are tough, and the week or so after can be tough too. And with this, my now third battle against cancer, I decided I couldn't just be a passive patient. I have to be an active participant in my own treatment, and maximizing my chemo day experience is an important part of that, and that's today's topic. And by the way, my hair is very quickly abandoning me, but fortunately I've got lots of hair. So here we go. It's cold in our infusion room. A nurse told me it's kept around 65 or 66 degrees, and it's currently a humid summer in the 90s outside. But I still wore a long sleeve shirt and a light hoodie while I was there. Now I wear a button down so they can get to the port, and here's me ensconced in that room. I also put lidocaine on the port area about an hour before the infusion and cover it with plastic wrap. Now, I was really skeptical at first, but it really does eliminate that needle pain. I considered ice footwear and ice gloves because a lot of people swear by them, and the idea is to restrict blood flow and reduce neuropathy. And honestly, that made a lot of sense to me. But my infusions run 3+ hours or so, and constantly swapping out cold packs seemed like a lot, and it really contradicted some other things I was doing during infusions. But I still like the idea of restricting blood flow, so I landed on compression socks and gloves because they really do serve a similar purpose. So I went medical grade, not Walmart grade. Sorry, Walmart. And if you look for compression gloves, you'll find they're usually marketed for arthritis. As a side tip, if you get the gloves, make sure they're touchscreen sensitive if you're bringing a phone or tablet. Then there's my Infusion Go Bag. The first time I brought a ton of stuff, the kitchen sink, and most of it I never touched, so lesson learned. I've pared it down to these few items. A soft fuzzy blanket from home. Now they provide those wonderful warm blankets, which I do use, but there's just something nice about having that comfort piece from home. Have a fully charged iPhone, and a lot of people bring iPads. As a side note, filming or photographing other patients in this area is very bad form. And then earbuds, because nobody else cares about my playlist or what I'm listening to. And I've got a good size insulated drink container for staying hydrated, even though they're pumping fluids in with the meds. And chapstick, because for some reason my lips get terribly chapped when I'm in there, so that's a help. And I have a neck pillow because I tend to fall asleep, and you'll understand why that happens shortly. But whatever helps you feel better and more comfortable is a win. But once I'm settled in under warm blankets with earbuds, I'm ready for the day's events. Now, I'm usually tuned in to news and politics, which these days isn't exactly calming. We all know that for a myriad of reasons. So during infusions, I switch to soothing, almost meditative music, usually long play mixes so I can just sit back, relax. And I really think that mental piece makes a difference. Now, point of clarity, keep in mind I am not a doctor. I am a patient sharing what's working for me. Your mileage may vary, different things may work better for you, and you should always check in with your own care team. But I learned how important a calm mental state is when I went through 17 radiation treatments inside one of those long, noisy tubes in a tight space, completely unable to move my head since that's what I was being treated for, or that's where I was being treated. I had to stay totally still for nearly an hour each session with my head locked to the table. And there's a picture of the mask they put on me that did that. So that just seems like something out of a horror movie, and it kind of felt that way sometimes. But I had no choice but to learn to stay calm and relaxed in that, to say the least, unpleasant environment. And really, strangely enough, that experience has helped me cope with plenty of other stressful situations since. So my job this time is simpler, but it's essentially the same. Sit in the chair, stay relaxed, and listen to my nurse. But once I'm set up and hooked up, I recline the chair, put the music on, and stay tuned to my body, and then that's why I often fall asleep. A big part of that is staying intentionally bodily aware. And what I mean by that is keeping my muscles relaxed, tracking how I feel, so if something seems off, I can alert my nurse right away. Now, I'm not a big meditation guy, but for these situations, it's just a prescription. While sitting there listening to music, I regularly check in with my body. Are my eyebrows furrowed? Are my shoulders tight? Because that's where I tend to wear tension. And on down through my body to my toes. For one thing, it gives me something to do because for some reason I always have to have something to do. Now, it does take some practice, but if you try it, it can be amazing and very helpful, but it takes a few tries. This bit is really important. It's the master key. Keep in mind that nothing else matters during your time in that chair. Nothing. When stray thoughts pop up like, did I lock the car? Did I make my car payment? Is my dog okay at my sister's farm? Which, by the way, he always is. I let him go, and I go back to the music in my body. When I have to, I picture those thoughts like trains on the track, and when they're getting to my station, I just wave them on so they can keep going. It's kind of silly maybe, but I find some kind of a visual sometimes helps. And I believe it made a real difference in how well I tolerated the sessions. Staying in that calm, relaxed state seems to genuinely help both the experience and the results. Again, my opinion, not a medical opinion. But wait, there's more. And for those of you still watching, here's the biggest thing I'm doing to tilt the odds in my favor. And it's a little crazy. Not a lot of people do it. I'm doing a 72-hour fasting routine around my chemo day. It's 48 hours before treatment and 24 hours after. And it's based on the Valtar Longo protocol. And it is not for the faint of heart. It's basically a 3-day water fast. The theory is that fasting pushes healthy cells into a defensive mode, making them more resistant to chemo drugs, while cancer cells carry on doing what they do and multiplying. And that forces the chemo drugs to focus more on those cancer cells. And I'm documenting that whole process in a separate series as I go through each round, and I'll include a link. Control what you can, keep the faith, and thanks so much for watching, and God bless.